Are you exhausted and overwhelmed? Because I am every day. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about exhaustion and being overwhelmed. This meditation of my heart started with a conversation I had with one of my best friends who is at the beginning stages of learning to deal with a long-term degenerative illness. I was talking to her and telling her a story. In 2009, my mother had sinus cancer, and it was life-changing. Like, just totally shifted our world completely. I lived 1,000 miles away from home in California, and my parents lived in Colorado, where I grew up. And I came home thinking I was coming home for 2 weeks because, my mom was having this surgery. And during the surgery, we found out she had sinus cancer. In the 11 and a half months that I stayed, instead of that 2 weeks that I talked about, my mother had 3 major surgeries, 2 minor surgeries. She had 30 rounds of radiation, and she had 3 rounds of chemotherapy, cisplatin, which is one of the harshest forms of chemo you can have. It shifted everything, like everything. And at that moment in time, I was single and not a mother, and I lived 1,000 miles away and had a completely different life away from my parents. But as an only child, and I was 32. I couldn't imagine my life without my mom. We've always been really close. And I took it just really serious that they wouldn't even stage her. They wouldn't give us any percentages other than on her major surgery on her head, where they cut her head open from ear to ear, that she had a 1 in 3 chance of just dying from that surgery. And if we made it past that, then we'd be lucky to just kind of keep going. And somehow we are 16 years out, and my mother continues to defy all the odds. And I've thought about, as I was talking to my friend, that one of the ways she was able to defy the odds was the way that I fortified our life in the house. Hello, dogs. Please ignore the dogs. It was the way that I was able to fortify our life. And what I did, and I stand behind it, a lot of people thought I was awful, and that's okay, because my mom's alive 16 years later, is she had no energy. So she didn't take phone calls. All of her phone calls either went through me or her sister. We managed every aspect of the house. I took over the bills. I took over the cooking. I took over the grocery shopping. I took over managing her doctor's appointments. All she had to do every day was to heal. And the phone calls that she did take were from her priest, and she would talk to him, and I had put time limits, and he had never had anybody put time limits on his conversations before. But the reality is she only had so much energy. And by doing that, I really was able to create a healing environment for her where she thrives today because of it. So I was sharing this with my friend who's embarking on this new life that's been thrust on her of a degenerative illness. It's just what it is. And I was saying, one of the things you have to do is you have to fortify your life. Because she has a beautiful daughter, my daughter's best friend. And I said, your daughter needs you. And so what I did was I shared the story I just told you. And then I said, you really have to figure out, get rid of those toxic people, those energy vampires that just are your vortex that get you. Get rid of those people. You don't need them. I don't care if they're related to you. We have a story about a family member who would always call, and she would always go, oh, Katrina, it just must be awful. And I got to the point where I refused to take her phone call. And my aunt, my mother's sister, felt obligated to talk to her. And that was her choice. But I got to choose for my mental health that I wasn't going to even have that conversation. And I'm glad in that moment that's the choice I made. It doesn't mean we weren't close later. It means that in that moment, I couldn't let her draining of my energy take away from what I had to give my mother in that moment. And so I was just sharing how that would affect my friend, and how how with her job, how she needs to start thinking differently of managing, and how with scheduling she needs to think differently of managing her energy, her health. And by doing so, that then will give her the ability and the energy to fight. So, how are you fortifying your life today? And I asked her that. And then that thing that happens when you talk to somebody, maybe it doesn't happen to you, it happens to me all the time, and you share a thought, you're pointing a finger, and I wasn't even pointing a finger. I was offering something that had worked for us. But I felt those fingers pointing back at me. And I felt, crap, just because I don't have a degenerative disease doesn't mean I don't need to be living that way too. I am burning the candle at both ends. I caregive for my father. I assist my daughter with homeschooling, although we have an online program. The reality is even though we have online assistance, I'm right there, and we first call mom. And then if mom can't get there, then we call the online assistance. Um And then I have the stuff with the house. And although my mom tries to help as much as she can, she's slowing down and she can't do as much as she used to. And then we help in our community, and we try to be there for the people that we love. And I'm not always great at that. I honestly, I feel like I'm failing in it completely because I have nothing left to give right now. And so how am I fortifying my life? And it's been resonating in my head for like 3 weeks now, 3.5 weeks. And it's tinging around. How am I fortifying my life? And I've been, and I'm trying to make more time for myself. That's one of the ways. So with my daughter being homeschooled now, we have gotten a pass to the gym, and I take her and her best friend, who's also homeschooling this year, and I'm in charge. Cute little round me is in charge of the physical fitness. So we go to the gym 3 times a week, whether we want to or not, kicking or screaming, whatever it is, you're going. You're just going to go. And you don't have to I'm not going to be the gym coach who's like, you have to do it this way. You just have to move. Get on a treadmill and move. Go get on an elliptical, move. Go do something and move. Go, and there's this great area that they can dance in. There's with all these mirrors, and go in the room and dance. I don't care what you do. Go do something and move. But what I'm finding is me being physically fit. Not that I'm completely physically fit, but me getting fit again is helping my mental fortitude. It's helping to fortify me. It's making me healthier physically, which helps me be healthier mentally. I make sure my mother and I both it's hot today. It's Florida. Please excuse us. Okay. The reality is my mother and I both get a monthly massage. We don't have a lot of excess right now. We're fine, but we don't have a lot of extra. It is a luxury that I build into our budget because we both need to have once a month a massage. And I've been doing those things, but evaluating the people that you have in your life. And obviously, if you're a caregiver, you can't get rid of the person you're caregiving for unless you put them in a facility. And even then, you're not getting rid of them. They're still a part of you. You're still going to go visit them. You're still going to care for them, because the reality is even if it's more of an obligation than a love, the reality is that they're still a part of you until they are gone, and they need to be checked on. So these are the things that I'm thinking about. I don't have this one down. I don't. I share it with you because I was then at the gym one day, and it was a silly thing with a phone on an elliptical. I thought that somebody had left their phone. My daughter was sure that they were saving it. I didn't see anybody in sight. I didn't think that anybody was going to walk all the way to the bathroom as far away and leave their phone unattended. My daughter was right. This woman came up, and I was like, oh, I can have my daughter move. She's like, no. I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, that was on me. She goes, I shouldn't have left my phone. And it was that moment where where two women are trying to make each other feel better, and I'm trying to let her know that she can have it and we're fine. And she's like, I'm just so done today. I was like, oh honey, we all are. And in that moment, the most amazing things happened. In that moment, I looked at her, I said, anybody who tells you differently, if they tell you that their Instagram life or their Facebook life is what their life actually is, they're lying to you. If they are a mother, if they have kids, I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how perfect their life looks on the internet. The reality is that they are in it too, at whatever level they are. We're all there. And so in the end, I ended up sharing this story with her about what I'm working on is what do you need to do in your life? And she proposed, what do you do if it's your kid? Because she's got a teenager. And I said, you obviously can't get rid of them and kick them out. That doesn't work. I said, but what does work is you do get to have strong boundaries with your kids. You get to tell your kid, you don't get to talk to me that way. You get to tell your kid, I'm ultimately in charge. I'm sorry you feel that this doesn't work for you. However, this is the way we're doing it. In that moment, I shared again the idea of fortifying your life. And I said it just like that. And it resonated with her in this way. It did. It resonated with her in this way that was so true. That she doesn't have to do things because she thinks she has to. She gets to take care of herself in the midst. In order to care for whether you're a caregiver for your children, whether you're a caregiver for somebody who's cognitively declined, whether you're just in relationship with people, you get to, as a female, you get to look after yourself too. And it's not being selfish. It's not being, well, you know that word. That B word? Beautiful. It's totally beautiful. It's not being that. It's being honest and true to who you are. So today I ask you, how can you fortify your life? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you're going to work at fortifying your life. Share ideas with each other. Let this be a community that supports each other. Let's be that community that lifts each other up and doesn't let ourselves fall. This is a place to come, be filled, and go out into the world and overflow. Let's overflow onto each other and lift each other up. Have a beautiful day and know that you are not alone, but work on fortifying your life. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. This is all happening real time. Have a beautiful day.